Good morning, my fellow humans. Today I'm going to be talking about a Bible story in the book of Judges, Judges chapter 11. So, last time I did this Bible study with you guys, we were talking about Abraham sacrificing his son to God because God told him to offer his son as a burnt offering. And as Abraham was about to take away his son's life, and he had his weapon to take away his son's life, the angel stopped Abraham and said, "Don't kill the boy." That's in the Bible. And a lot of Christians will read this Bible story. And by the way, all Christians don't feel the same or think the same about this story. But I've heard some pastors say, at least God rescued Abraham's son, Isaac. And so, but this story in Judges 11, this man named Jephthah, he makes a vow to God. And what happened is this man ends up offering his daughter as a burnt offering to God. And God does not stop this man. So this man takes his daughter's life and he burns her body. And it's a tragic story. And so I've listened to pastors talk about this before. Now remember, I grew up and my family, we went to black and white churches. So there was a period of time when we were going to black Christian churches, a period of time when we were going to white Christian churches. So I was in this church, and this is when we were at a white Christian evangelical church. And this pastor, he said, and to me, it seemed like he was trying to make an excuse for God, but he said, look, the point of Judges chapter 11 is that don't make a promise to God that's outrageous, and don't make a promise to God that is really terrible. Okay? But I heard this sermon, this is like when I was like 12 years old, and I was thinking to myself, well, okay, but shouldn't God have stopped Jephthah? That's the name of the man who took his daughter's life. Shouldn't God have stopped Jephthah from killing his daughter? Because I wish that God had jumped out of heaven and told this man, hey, do not offer your daughter as a burnt sacrifice, because I don't want you doing this under my name. And this is your child, by the way. I don't want you sacrificing your child in my name. But God did not intervene, and this girl ended up dying. So why did Abraham's son Isaac get to live? And why does Jephthah's daughter dies? And the Bible doesn't even give Jephthah's daughter a name. This girl doesn't have a name. She's a nameless girl who dies because her dad takes her life and offers her body as a burnt sacrifice to God. So anyways, I have my Bible. This story is in Judges chapter 11. This is just something I have in here. Judges chapter 11. I want to show you that this is truly a Bible story, and I have been reading this, and this is I'm older now, as you can see. I'm an older person now, but when I was a kid, back when I was a Christian as a child, I grew up in a Christian household, so of course I was going to be a Christian as a child because I wanted to go along with the flow of my parents, and there are some aspects of Christianity that sound good to me. But as I got older, like around 12 through 17, some of the Bible stories were just really weird. And I also have a problem with the Bible being so male-centered, and some of the stories are so male-centered that it completely leaves out the women. This story is so tragic because this man, he offers his daughter as a burnt offering to the Lord, and he was stupid for doing that. He was very stupid for doing that, but I wish that the Lord God could have intervened and told this man, do not offer your daughter as a burnt offering in my name. That's what I wish could have happened. But anyways, I'm going to read a part of the story because when I first read about Jephthah, I like him. He seems like a good man. He's an outsider. and I am also an outsider. And I like to read about other outsiders who do well with their lives. I like to hear about them overcoming obstacles and doing well, you know. So yes, I'm an outsider. I have autism, and I'm the only child in my family that have autism. I am the middle child, you know, and yeah, I have one brother and my three sisters, and they do not have autism, and their quality of life was way much better than mine, and they were having, they had fun, they had friends, and as a child, I was struggling with my autism and had no friends because of my autism. But now, I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me. Do not feel sorry for me. That was a long time ago, and I'm an adult now, and I'm more in charge over my life now. My life is not as stupid as it was when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, life was really stupid, and so life got better as I got older. And since I was not parent correctly, I have to reparent myself. But yeah, I was an outsider, and I still feel like an outsider, but I'm going to do what I can to make my life better. And I plan on moving to a better city that offers more for people like me. And so, yeah, I'm just, I'm going to be not trying to, but I'm going to make my life better, because that's what I need to do as an adult. And I am responsible for myself. So, heck yeah, I'm going to do what I can within reason to make my life better. But anyways, Jephthah, right here, I'm going to start my Bible reading. He was an outsider. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading so that you can understand why this man was an outsider. Now, Jephthah the Gilead was a mighty warrior, but he was the son of a prostitute. Gilead was the father of Jephthah. Gilead's wife bore him sons, but when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, "You shall not have an inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman, you are the son of a prostitute." And so Jephthah fled his brothers and dwelt in the land of Tob. Jephthah gathered some worthless followers around himself, and they went out with him. Okay, so yeah, Jephthah, he did the right thing to fled his brothers. His brothers were looking down on him just because he is the son of a prostitute. Jephthah, he can't control who gives birth to him. He can't control it, but anyways, they were looking down on him anyways, because some people are bullies and some people like to look down on other people who are different, and so they told their half-brother, "You don't get to share in your inheritance with us." And so Jephthah, he did the right thing. He fled away. He was not wanted, so he fled away, and that's what ultimately I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be moving because of a similar reason. Yeah, I'm going to be moving away, yeah. And I should move. I'm in my early 40s. Heck yeah, I'm going to move away too, to a different state and have a better life. But anyways, yeah, Jephthah, he did the right thing. And yeah, he was a warrior, a mighty warrior, and he was supposed to go to war against the Amorites. Now, I don't have to bore you with the details. What happened is his brothers and the elders and the leaders of Israel, they came to Jephthah and they said, "Look, we're about to go into war, and we want you to be our leader." And Jephthah said, "Well, didn't you hate me? And didn't you chase me out of my father's house?" And then they said, "Yeah, we did do that." And Jephthah said, "So why do you want me to help you?" And they said, "Because we're about to go to war, and we want your leadership. And if you lead us, we will let you be a ruler of Israel. We'll let you rule over the people." And Jephthah said, "Okay." And so Jephthah, he wins the battle. Very good, And then after that, he makes a very stupid vow to the Lord. Okay, so first, I liked Jephthah at first. Now this is the part where I'm going to start not liking this man. He said, "Lord, since you delivered my enemies into my hands. Whoever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, I will offer them up as a burnt offering to you, Lord. Who did Jephthah expect to come out of his house? Did he expect a cat? Was a cat going to welcome him back? It was going to be a close relative. And guess what? Your closest relative is your child. If you have children, your closest relative is your child. Okay, I have 2 kids. Those are my closest relatives. So this story is going to get very weird, and you're going to understand why I hate it. Jephthah said, you know what, Lord, I'm going to sacrifice the first thing that come out of the house to welcome me. He is so dumb. This story is so stupid. You know, I think this story is probably not even true. I hope that this story is not true. Okay. Anyways, so Jephthah, here he is. He's very happy. At first, he's happy that he won the battle, and he tells God, you know, he made this stupid vow. So when Jephthah, when he came back home, it was his daughter who came out to meet him, dancing and playing the tambourine. She was his only child. Okay, he had no other sons or daughters. She was his only child. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, "Woe is me, for my daughter has made me miserable and wretched." Okay, this is also dumb for him to say. How could she make him wretched and miserable? How could she make him miserable? She didn't know that he made this stupid vow to God. She didn't know that. She was being a good daughter. She was happy that her dad won. She was happy for her father. And she welcomed him back home with tambourines and dancing. She was being a good daughter. And her reward for being a good daughter is being burnt to death by her crazy dad because he made a stupid vow to the Lord. This story is tragic. But let's continue reading. He said, "I made a vow to the Lord. I cannot break it." Heck yeah, he can break a vow. Well, he should never made that vow in the first place. It was a stupid vow. But he says, "I cannot break it." This man is being stupid, and he is not looking out for his daughter. And then the girl said, "My father," she said, "you have made a vow to the Lord. Do to me what you have vowed to do, for the Lord has taken vengeance for you upon your enemies, the Amorites." So she says, "Dad, do what you have vowed." I think this story is not true, because if your dad said, "I have to kill you because I made a vow to the Lord," I'm pretty sure you're going to say that's some bull. Or you might say something else, but that's ridiculous. Of course your dad's not going to say anything like that. We're living in modern times. This is a very ancient book. I guess ancient people sometimes offered their child as a burnt sacrifice to God or a god. I cannot relate to this. Nobody, no modern people should be doing this. But if a person is doing this, they're wrong. They will go to jail. This is terrible. And so she said, "Okay, well, do what you have promised." And then she said, "Only let me do this one thing, my father." She continued, "May I roam around the hill country to mourn my virginity, for I will never marry." So she's basically saying, I am a virgin, and I don't get to get married and have kids, so may I cry about the fact that I'm never going to have children, and may I cry about the fact that I'm going to always be a virgin. I'm going to die a virgin. At this point, I'm going to say this story is not true. This is sounding beyond stupid at this point. This story is sounding stupid. First it was a tragic, and then now it's just starting to sound stupid. But she asked her dad to have 2 months to roam in the hill. And she's going to cry about dying a virgin. Okay. Anyways, her dad answered, go. She and her friends went into the hill country for 2 months, mourning the fact that she was going to die a virgin. But if her friends were good friends, they would have told her, look, your dad is crazy. He's ridiculous. He is a complete idiot. What you need to do is run away from your dad so that you can live. So that you can live. Don't let your dad kill you and burn your body for his God that's not going to rescue you. No. No. Who wants their dad to take away their life and offer them up as a burnt offering to God? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my gosh. The man who wrote this story, I don't think he knew that this story was going to be extremely weird, tragic, and stupid, and out of date. All of those things. But let's continue reading. Okay. So, when the 2 months were over, she returned to her father. That's very stupid, okay? He did what he had promised in his vow to do to her. She never knew any man. This is why there is a custom in Israel for young women in Israel to mourn the daughter of Jephthah, the Gilead, for 4 days every year. So the Israelite women are supposed to mourn 4 days out of the year for Jephthah's daughter because she never got married and had kids. She died a virgin. What do you think about this Bible story? What do you think about this Bible story? Why did God rescue Abraham's son, Isaac, but not Jephthah's daughter? This girl didn't even have a name. This is crazy. This is a very crazy, unhappy story. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Thank you for having Bible study with me, and I hope you think about this story. And I hope I'm right. I really think this story didn't really happen. I don't think this is a real, true story. I think a man who lived a long time ago wrote this story down, but I hope that it isn't true. But I do think that ancient people did sacrifice their kids a long time ago. But as a modern day person, I cannot relate to this story, and nobody in modern days should be doing this. Also, one more thing I want to say. There are some people who are trying to push the Bible into public schools down here in the South, especially in Alabama and Louisiana and Texas. They're trying to put the Bible back in public schools. But if these kids read these strange stories about a father who burns up his daughter for God, these kids are going to say, this story is weird. This is foolishness. Why we got to read these terrible, violent stories? And also, so right now I'm living in Tennessee. Okay, but I'm living in Jackson, Tennessee. Now, in Knox, Tennessee, this is a different city, a city that I'm not living in Knox, Tennessee, in their county. That's the name of their county. They decide to ban the book Roots, R-O-O-T-S, the book Roots, and it's a book about slavery and how this man and his family overcame slavery, and eventually they were set free after the Civil War. And Roots is also a movie, also, and I watched it when I was a child. But this city in Tennessee, they wanted to ban the book Roots, and they said that it was too violent for and it's considered not appropriate for certain ages, for underage kids, and they banned it in their school public libraries. And so, but that's just an excuse to try to erase Black history, because they're being absolutely ridiculous down there, trying to erase Black people's stories, trying to be racist, trying to be stupid, trying to be a stupid MAGA racist Trump supporter. But they're also being a hypocrite, because the Bible have bloody, violent stories in it too. Don't forget the story of Lot's two daughters, what they did to their father. And then the story of Abraham. He was about to offer his son as a burnt offering, but God rescued Abraham's son. And then here the story I just read about Jephthah, who offers his daughter as a burnt offering to God, and God doesn't stop him. That is a violent, bloody story. And so a lot of hypocrisy is going on right now because of MAGA and the Christian nationalists. It's absolutely ridiculous. The Republican Party is a mess. They are a big, hot, steaming mess. The Republican Party, it needs to be dismantled, or it needs to be maybe rebrand, or they need to do something new, because they are a mess. The only thing that the Republican Party is standing up for is Donald Trump. That's the only thing that they are standing up for. They're not standing up for the people. They're not standing up for democracy. They're not standing up for liberty, those things. They're just loyal to Donald Trump, and they're just being a sycophant and a cult around Donald Trump. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the Republican Party, they need to rebrand, or they need to be demolished. Maybe they can create a different party, but they're not doing so well right now. They're making too many mistakes. We are in a war that Iran didn't even start that war. America started that war with them. Absolutely ridiculous. The price of everything is going up. Christian nationalism is just trying to take away people's rights. We have this crazy pastor who's saying that women should not have the right to vote, and crazy men who want to go back in time. But no, it would be a big mistake to mix religion with politics, to mix Christianity with politics. That would be a huge mistake. And making children read crazy Bible stories, violent stories about people doing violent things to their own children, like offering their children up as a burnt offering, like modern day children in public schools. Like, how is that supposed to help them with their life? How is that supposed to help them have a better life? You know, if you're a Christian, that's fine. You can read your Bible, you can enjoy your church, you can enjoy your devotional time, you can enjoy yourself, and you can enjoy going to church if you want to, and listening to your sermons. But please don't force this on people, and please don't force people to think the way you think, because Christianity and these Bible stories, they're not going to appeal to everybody. They are not going to appeal to everybody. Everybody's not going to like these stories. People are not going to believe these stories. And a lot of people don't even want to know about these stories, and a lot of people don't even know these stories. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Yeah, we don't need the Bible in public schools. We don't need children reading these disturbing, violent stories. You know, you don't need that. If you really, really want your kid to know these stories, you have the freedom to take them to church. You can, as a parent, you have the right to take your kid to Sunday school. You can do that. But I'm choosing not to do that, because this is ridiculous. These are ridiculous stories. It's absolutely so silly, and all that kind of crazy stuff. But anyways, thank you for having Bible study with me, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.